Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law, Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to the Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, the first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Today is 12/1/22, Thursday, Friday Eve. Uh, Always better when you're getting closer to the weekend, and also, just kind of figuring out, the sports landscape. Things are tightening up in the, are actually almost complete. We're talking about college football playoff. So there's just uh, things are ending and things are beginning. Talking basketball. Um, Before I get into that, let's just kind of get into our the last young man was buried yesterday. Lavelle Davis Jr. He was laid to rest, North Charleston, South Carolina. And what we'll do, I want to get some advice. In the comments, you can send messages. However, and now this is the longest part of this process that I talked about. This is the healing part. You know, um, I want some advice from you, my listening, viewing audience. What are our next steps after something like this that we've all gone through? What are some of your tendencies, some of your techniques, some of your philosophies, ideas, in how you handle a situation like this? I'm definitely interested to hear from my audience, on when you're going through a tragedy, something that's just so terrible, that's unimaginable, you could ever figure anything like this happening. What would you guys do as far as, or what have you done whenever tragedy has this position we're in? What are your healing methods? I really need to hear this. I love to, and that's what these platforms. That's what this platform is for us to share everything. So, if you guys have ideas that you have done, or some strategies, some things that you guys have been through, and you think other folks could benefit from it, let me know, because I will share those, with the public, with the viewing of mine, and whoever, you know. I don't know. I feel like we're in just a odd, crazy place right now. But this is when healing starts, guys. And you never really heal from something like this, but you just have to learn how to live with it, I guess is the term. You live with it as long as long as you're here with everybody here on earth, and just you learn to live with the tragedy. But everyone has different techniques. Everybody has different ways of dealing with the tragedy. So, oh boy, um, this is kind of where I am with it. It's three major things that we wanted to make sure we brought to you guys, which was facts, truth about the situation. Be emotionally authentic. Make sure that we are honest about our feelings with you guys. Let you know how we're feeling. Be transparent in our feelings. And then also, what are our next steps to healing? And we're finally at that next steps to healing process. So let's let's continue to talk, and continue this conversation. But I want to hear from you guys. What are some healing steps, some ideas, some techniques that you have maybe done to possibly get through something like this? But like I said, I appreciate all of you guys, all my viewers and listeners, all my folks at Locked On. Thank you guys for supporting us in the University of Virginia community. But let's keep this thing running. And as I say, keep this thing running, I'm talking about the women's University of Virginia women's basketball team, who really are showing something special. I said it earlier in the year. You can go back and check the tapes, as they say, check the tape. I said, could this be a sleeping giant? Could these young ladies be a lot more special than a lot of people think? There is another new emerging star on the team. I talked about Cameron Taylor. I talked about Taylor Valladay. Talked about Sam Brunell. But lo and behold, there is a superstar who has been lighting it up in the last 3 games, and it's sustainable with her. And her name is Mir McLean. Mir McLean is a 5'11 guard slash forward on the team who is killing it in the stats, in the box. Um, this is what I can tell you. 24 and was it 13, 24 and 13 against Penn State last night in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, the women's version. And they beat Penn State by 21. Penn State was an undefeated team as well. I said somebody's O has to go. And, you figure, and a lot of people thought it would be a much tighter game than it was. But the score was 89-68. What are we thinking about? What are we looking at here, man? I mean, I think it's awesome. I'm looking at it like, man, I said, this, we may be in for an incredible basketball year. Just in general. The girls have, or the ladies have shown that they have a lot of different ways that they can play. I'm looking at Mira McLean just put up points, put up boards. She can also pass. One thing about this team, watching the game yesterday, they distribute the ball around really well, and they shoot better, um, than they ever did. Just watching them move the ball around, share the ball, shoot, play defense, and the beauty of it also is they run the floor. They really run the floor, and I like that part. Because it gives them more possessions, it gives them more time, more opportunities to score. But 9-0, 9-0 right now. Think about that. Being 9-0, and this is the best record for this team in the last 30 years. 30 years. 1991. I was still in high school. Not trying to date myself. But think about that. 1991 was the last time that these Lady Cavaliers had a record like that. And their first win in the Big Ten ACC Challenge since 2012. Could we be onto something here? They got UNC Wilmington next Sunday, or this Sunday, excuse me, this Sunday coming up at 2 p.m. I believe it's going to be at the JPJ, I believe. I could be wrong. I got to check that. I just had it. Yes, it's going to be at the JPJ, sponsored by Busch Gardens, it says. Very cool. But yeah, so they're going to be at the JPJ, UNC Wilmington, which should be another win. I'm going to start counting them now because they've shown that they can, when they're talent, now it seems like they have a lot of talent there. It seems like they can, maybe we can start saying, okay, they'll be a win. So, we got some things going on now. Let's make sure that we support these young ladies, viewers and listeners. Support these young ladies because they've this team is taking a while to get there, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit more information about it. But yeah, but they look like a special team. Don't be one of the last ones to, and one of the last people to find out that this team is actually as special as they are. But yeah, UNC Wilmington. Um, and this is what I'll say. I say this is a good part of the season, a great part of the season. Football winding down, basketball winding up, and then your basketball team is doing well. But thank you guys for being here and listening and making sure that we can have a job and give you guys some information moving forward. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball and soccer and esports, we've got it all at BetOnline. And if you love sports podcast, you can find all of those right here on BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest, easiest way to get your gambling fix, betting fix. Head to the website today or use the mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. So everyone, we're just talking about the ladies basketball team and how special they are, and what they're doing is something that haven't been done in quite some time. I said I'm dating myself, but yes, it's been that long. So we'll keep an eye on them. The UNC Wilmington on the 4th, which they play them on the 4th, which is Sunday. And we'll make sure that we keep you guys up to date on those ladies and keep this baby rolling. So the men, let's talk about the men really quick. Or maybe spend a little time on the men as well. The men finished up the Big Ten ACC Challenge yesterday. I did a little bit of reporting on them, and on the, how they won, what they did, who did well. I'll give you a little bit more of a recap on that. Of course, Reese Beekman, is a concern right now. He twisted his ankle pretty bad there. He stepped on, it was either Jaden's foot or one of the teammates' foot on the court there, and you could just see him hobbling around. But what's crazy about him is, they took his shoes off and retaped his ankle, and he went back out there and had, the game-changing play at the end of the game. He's just special, man. Special perimeter player. Um, it's his team. He's a junior, still has another year left. So, a guy who has both offense and defensive abilities. Now, we can truly say Reese is a good, really, budding good offensive player. He's a better assist man than you would think. And you remember him coming out of the South, I believe Louisiana. He was Mr. Louisiana, or the best basketball player coming out of Louisiana that in his senior, and he had a complete game. He could, he could assist. I want to say he averaged a triple double or damn near a triple double as a high school senior, as far as averaging 20 plus points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He was a great all around player. But what we didn't know is that he could be a total lockdown defender. And that's what he's shown to be, in these days of his junior year, showing his versatility, and it's proven that he's worked on his shot. His shot's a little awkward. It's a little slow, but he can shoot the ball. I'm just thinking and waiting. I said, okay, he's going to shoot a three. His 3-point shooting wasn't his forte, even though I will give him this credit. 2 years ago, his freshman year, when he hit that 3-pointer in North Carolina at the end of the game to seal the victory, I think everybody who was watching, rooting for Virginia, jumped out of their seats because UNC was a high-ranked team then. And speaking of that, you guys see what's happening to University of North Carolina? That is 3 losses in 8 days. Man, they whew, I don't know if they're going to be able to return to the way that they did last year, even though they do have a ton of talent. I don't know, man. But 3 losses and don't get me wrong, Indiana is one of the top teams in college basketball as well. So they lost their game at the ACC Big Ten Challenge, but man, things are not looking good for the University of North Carolina, being the defending national champs, and they had one of their studs, Armando Bacot, come back, who's just an absolute animal on the boards, great down low player, and they still have some of the guys returning from last year. So I don't know what's happening with North Carolina, but they need to continue on to that same rhythm until until they're finished playing with University of Virginia. So let's think about this. Let's think about Duke, who is the other team that is supposed to be one of the top schools, um, one of the top schools in the ACC as far as playing basketball. So is Duke really, that great? I mean, I watched them play as well. They play a little bit more methodical. You know, they're not doing that well either. They have 2 losses, and UVA is the only undefeated team in the ACC right now, and thriving, and doing well. So the target is on our backs again, guys. It is time for us to show our pedigree. And one thing that you got a lot of these 5 stars that have gone to Duke, have gone to North Carolina, high end 4 or 5 stars. They're not playing together. That's the reason why Tony Bennett is the man. He convinces his players to stay, and maybe his players aren't ready to go into the league, but he does convince his players to stay together and play together. And now, we have what the stat was like, what is it? 4 3-year players, 3 5-year players, something like that. 4 4-year players and 3 5-year players. So we have so much experience. It's almost like we're Gonzaga East. You know how Gonzaga always typically has, tenured players, players that have been there for a long time, and they still do. You got Gonzaga, but Virginia has the same kind of a philosophy where they maintain their players. They don't, and they don't necessarily go for the one and done kid as well. You know, and there's a delicate balance to that. You still got to recruit high, but you don't necessarily go for the one and done player. So Tony Bennett and his staff, Coach Williford, they are on their game right now, and they are doing well. But that Michigan game that they played, they're 6-0. After that game, they're up to number 3 in the rankings. What's next? I told you this was a 5-game spread, a 5-game leg that we're at. So number 1, they beat. Number 1, they beat Michigan. All right, and then I'll be there for number 2, which is against Florida State. That's Saturday at 2:00 tip off, and Florida State is tricky because Leonard Hamilton is always a difficult coach to plan for. He recruits incredible athletic players, and they play that tough brand of defense. offense sometimes can be a struggle for them, but they definitely lean on their defense, athleticism, their length, and they come after you. So there's Florida. So we got Michigan, Florida State, and then they got the revenge game against JMU next Tuesday. Remember JMU really embarrassed UVA last year, and now it's time to serve that dish back to them cold. And then JMU could potentially be the trap game because the next game after that is gonna on ESPN or ESPN2 is gonna be, a major game, and I want to say that's gonna be on. I got to see when that with the time of that game is. Play Houston, in Houston right now is the number one team in the nation. I don't foresee them having any stumbling blocks moving forward. So, what do we get a potential? That's December 17th. So December 17th, oh my goodness, that is a Saturday. So, oh my goodness. Ooh, that's in Charlottesville as well. So I probably will be there to watch that. I'll be in the press area, the press box area, or press area for that game. Who knows? They may get so many people there, that and I, that you're gonna probably get a lot of press there because it's number one against number three, and this could be very, very, very special. It's gonna be a great game. I think Houston is a dangerous team. Number one, they have a lot of athleticism. They have a score at will. They can score all over the floor. They put up a lot of points. So this is it, guys. UVA is on their roll, and I said if we can end up with just like one loss, um, we're starting out phenomenally. And then of course the teams in the ACC, maybe they're not as great as people thought they were, before in the beginning of the year. But now that does leave some room for some up and coming teams to come and get you. But I talked about that Houston game, but then there's Miami. Miami always plays us tough, and that's another squad. That's the fifth game, in that in that 5 game stretch I'm talking about. And if we can beat all those teams, we're talking about a UVA going in at like 11-1, going into ACC play and ready to dominate ACC play. 11-1, 12-1, 11-2, something like that. Because the game they have after was like Albany, and I think they'll take care of business with Albany. And then the first, you jump right into league play, and that's when they get Georgia Tech. So, man, let's keep this baby going, man. I'm excited for it, and I don't know, everyone. I think we are a special team with a, and I'm not gonna call it quite yet. I don't want to say the the C word, kind of a team, quality team, but looks like there's a special team on the ladies side and on the men's side. So let's keep an eye on all this. But Jaden Gardner playing his butt off. Of course, Reese Beekman is the unquestioned leader of this team now. The team has been turned over, and he's the best player on the team. Both sides of the ball, just a difference maker. Got Kie Clark, Amon Franklin, Cade Cedric, Vander Plas, and Bobby Cafaro. And then you got youngsters like Ryan Dunn and Isaac McNeely coming off the bench. So he's got a full complement of talent. And did I say Tane Murray? I forgot about Tane Murray, another wing shooter, played for his country as well, or played in a professional league in his country as well. So we'll just keep rolling, guys. I can tell you, stay on this ride with us, and you will not go wrong. But I got to thank you for listening to us, making us your first listener of the day at Locked On Virginia, man. just keep having fun. And like I said, welcome to December, the first day of December, and the last month of 2022. I can't believe that it's gone this far, this fast. But let's gear up. Buckle up, everybody. Let's go and let's have some fun. For the second listen of the day, check out Locked On Sports Today. For the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast.